Welcome to State of Business on Art Television. I'm Heshain Ali and let's have a look at the headlines first. People's Bank Amendment Bill passed in the Parliament. Central Bank cancels the functioning of the TKs Finance Limited. News in detail. The Parliament of Sri Lanka today passed the People's Bank Amendment Bill with amendments. Several amendments which were brought by the opposition parliamentarians were defeated in a vote. The adjourned committee stage debate on the People's Bank Amendment Bill took place at the House this morning. The bill was presented by the Minister of Finance on the 24th of May and published as Bill number 282 in the Gazette. Ruling party told the Houses that the purpose of the amendment was to replace sections 4 and 5 of the Act dealing with the objectives and the powers of the bank. Parliament was initially scheduled to debate the bill on the 4th of September, but it was postponed as the ruling and opposition parliamentarians agreed to consider more amendments and debate further. Especially, opposition leader Mahinda Rajapaksa had written to the Speaker requesting for a postponement. The Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka today announced that the license issued to the TKs Finance Limited was cancelled as the company failed to provide sufficient and substantial grounds not to cancel its license. Central Bank in a statement said that under the Finance Business Act, TKs Finance Limited was allowed to function as a licensed finance company in the country, but it continuously violated the provisions of the Act and several directions and rules issued on them. The statement said that they took measures to put the TKs Finance on right tracks, but the Central Bank didn't notice any satisfactory progress at the company even after regulatory actions were taken against them. The Monetary Board, in terms of Section 37 of the Act, decided to cancel the license issued to TKs Finance Company to carry on finance business with effect from today. Sri Lanka Deposit Insurance and Liquidity Support Scheme will take necessary actions to pay compensation to the insured depositors of TKs Finance up to a maximum of 600,000 rupees per depositor, and depositors are advised to recover part of their remaining deposits through the process of liquidation. All debtors of TKs Finance are also advised to pay their dues to the company on time only through a bank account under the name of TKs Finance and maintain records for all payments to avoid litigations against the debtors. Parliamentarian Keheliya states a good administration with professionalism and accountability that is devoid of mudslinging are main concerns of the presidential candidate of Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Keheliya made these claims today morning addressing a media briefing organized by Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna.
Gotabaya Rajapaksa's selection was not by chance but by choice. The choice was a public choice. The people, as you know, we had this organization called Keheliya and Viatmaga. That's the area that he wanted to concentrate. A good administration, a professionalism into the system, and also accountability to the system. And these are main themes of Gotabaya Rajapaksa. And you would have noticed when his name was announced on the 11th of August, in his speech then and his other speech at the Viatmaga, there was no issues like what I'm saying, about the Yahapal and or their shortcomings. It was just a matter of policy and how he is going to administer a country. Mudslinging, blame game, he has by example stopped it.
Minister of Plantation Industries Naveen Dissanayake states that the tea industry should look at tea not as a product but as a world beverage in order to produce better tea in qualitative and quantitative wise. Speaking at the award ceremony of Ceylon Tea Masters Cup 2019 held at Colombo last Tuesday, Minister also added that the soft skills of marketing are essential to upgrade the industry.
The tea industry has to look at tea not as a drink, not as a product, but as a beverage, as a world beverage. And if we fail to do that, then we will be out of the game. So while we have a very hard and a good qualitative production line for the tea that produces the best tea in Sri Lanka, I feel we should up the game in the softer skills. Tea preparation, tea pairing, and of course, tea mixology, which is also a very hip word. And also new products for the tea industry, like tea fusions. The whole gamut of the tea industry could be changed if we can bring in new ideas and new innovative thinking. And this is actually the softer set, the softer skills of marketing that we need.
Stay tuned for more news right after this commercial break. after the break. Japan inks an agreement to provide a grant aid of $2 million for the implementation of the Women, Peace and Security Agenda in Sri Lanka. Accordingly, Japanese government has provided a grant aid worth 218 million Japanese yen, which is approximately $2 million to Sri Lanka through the United Nations entity for gender equality and the empowerment of women for the project of implementation of the Women, Peace and Security Agenda in Sri Lanka. The exchange of notes for the project was signed on September 18, 2019 at the ambassador's residence between Ambassador of Japan to Sri Lanka, Akira Sugiyama, and Regional Director of UN Women for Asia and the Pacific, Mohammed Nasiri. This aid is part of Japan's assistance to Sri Lanka under the G7 Women, Peace and Security Partnerships initiative that was agreed at the G7 Foreign Ministers meeting in April 2018.
Today, it is our great pleasure to make another contribution to promote the WPS agenda in Sri Lanka by extending a grant aid worth approximately $2 million through UN Women. This grant aid will be utilized to enhance women's economic empowerment, improve awareness of women's rights, and promote women's political participation through rehabilitation of vocational training facilities, provision of training equipment to improve digital literacy, and holding seminars, workshops.
Sri Lanka Tea Board announces that the national tea production in the country during the month of August this year increased by 20% in comparison to the tea production in August last year. Sri Lanka Tea Board in a statement said that the production increase shows elevations in all three sectors such as high-grown, medium-grown and low-grown teas in correspondence to the August 2018. The Sri Lanka Tea Board announced that the tea production in the month of August stood by over 25 million kilograms in comparison to over 21.5 million kilograms in 2018. Thus, it shows an increase of 4.5 million kilograms, which accounts to 20% growth against the corresponding month of 2018. Moreover, high-grown, medium-grown and low-grown tea sectors show an increase in correspondence to the August 2018. Meanwhile, cumulative tea production for the period of January to August 2019 shows an increase of 4% respectively against last year, along with a production of about 210 million kilograms. Group Managing Director of Sunshine Holdings, Vish Govindasamy, highlights that Sri Lanka requires a single strategic unit to monitor and respond to the impacts of the global events on country's economy. Addressing Sri Lanka Economic Summit 2019 held in Colombo last Tuesday, Sunshine Managing Director Govindasamy noted that countries should move away from traditional export products and tap into new profitable exports.
I think for Sri Lanka needs to have a single unit that will focus on global events and react very fast than just to wait till the events happen. For example, the last 2 months disturbances in Hong Kong. I see that as an advantage for our financial and investment sector here, the banking sector. We should have taken a lot more aggressive step to woo in investments coming during that time when that was happening. The Middle East war between the civil unrest that has been going on has had the sanctions from the West. Even though tea is not a sanctioned product, Sri Lanka has really struggled the Sri Lankan government, I should say, has really struggled in making sure selling of tea and getting the funds back from the international banking route, which has been a huge disadvantage for the tea sector. And this is a large foreign exchange earner for Sri Lanka, so we should really focus on how to get out of that debacle, knowing that tea is not a sanctioned product. So these Middle East tensions will continue to have effects on Sri Lankan products. We need to, as a country, move away from the traditional exports to newer products that we can export than being caught in the traditional exports that we have been doing.
Speaking at the same forum, Chairman of the Board of Investment of Sri Lanka, Mangalayapa, shared some key measures in order to ameliorate the foreign direct investment drive in Sri Lanka.
Internally, how can a country like Sri Lanka, while maintaining its natural beauty, work on its USPs and attract substantial FDI without internal challenges? There will be many political challenges when you move into look at efficiency seeking or market seeking FDI into Sri Lanka. If Sri Lanka to attract market seeking FDI, naturally it has to expand its market beyond the 21 million people we have in Sri Lanka. So naturally, we have to move towards regional and other bilateral trade agreements, which has been started but yet not concluded. That's a challenge that we have to face. Skill development, improving human talent, and improving competitiveness becomes a serious challenge. A third challenge that Sri Lanka is facing is most of our FDI and growth has been only in the Western province. How do we move into the regions and bring about an inclusive growth in the FDI?
Stay tuned for stock updates right after this break. Welcome back after the break. Trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on a positive note today. The all share price index gained 3.53 points to close at 5,811.04, and the S&P SL20 gained 8.90 points to close at 2,786.95. The turnover was 463 million rupees and over 16 million shares were traded. Up next are forex rates. That's all news for today. Do join us tomorrow with State of Business. Until then, take care. Good night.